All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Network Effect, where we help you transform relationships into opportunities. If you don't know me by now, my name is Brian. I am your host. And today we have a guest, and we're going to walk you through a networking journey, if you will. I met Tim at a virtual networking event, and I'm going to pull that back a little bit. And we want to tell you the story together, not just my version of it. But Tim is the owner of Definition Digital Marketing, and what he does on a day-to-day basis is awesome. And he provides great services that a lot of people can use and need, in my opinion. But we discovered something cool together. So with enough of that, I want to introduce you to Tim. Tim, welcome to Network Effect.
Hey, glad you could invite me. Thanks for that. Thanks for having me on.
You know what? I think that this story is going to be perfect for Network Effect because we've known each other for 10 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of that was like, okay, maybe we met at the event and then we had the one-on-ones. Even though we've known each other for a couple of days, it's been mostly emails and a little bit of FaceTime over the web.
Absolutely. So if you're not familiar with a platform called Alignable, it's for small businesses to network and build referral partners. Obviously, the both of us belong to Alignable, and we're both pretty active on Alignable. But they have these things called Quick Connects, to where in the beginning, it's a Zoom call for more or less. But they go into breakout rooms, and usually you're paired with somebody else, and their software minimizes the ability or opportunity to connect with the same person multiple times, which is really cool. I've never been connected with the same person twice in the same call. I have been connected with somebody I've met and spoke to before on calls in the past. However, you get 7 minutes. It's the two of you, 7 minutes to talk. What's your experience been with Alignable, Tim?
Yeah. So after my first Connect event, I signed up for the Plus subscription. So that's because I was like, oh yeah, I should be able to meet, because I've used similar platforms in the past, and the amount of people that want to connect with you is you're sending out 100 messages and you're lucky if one of them returns. Whereas with a Quick Connect, like everybody I talked to, either I connected to them or they connected with me, and I'm like, okay, I'm running out of connections. And again, you said 7 minutes together. I was like, usually you go to an event, like if you go to the in-person Chamber of Commerce or what's the other one, the business meeting, I forget the acronym, but you go there and you get a minute to introduce yourself. And if what you said in that minute is not appealing to whoever, they're not going to come up to you afterwards and get your contact information. You can put your business cards. A lot of those meetings, you go there, you try to connect with somebody, and if you don't catch them immediately after the end of the event, that was a waste of your time. Whereas with the Alignable events, not only can I do them in the office, so I've got temporary office at the moment, but not only can I do that there, I don't have to make the trip out there. Every time I've connected with somebody, it's been somebody that set up a one-on-one meeting. So I've gotten at least one, and most of the time I've gotten multiple times. So it's a fantastic tool.
You know what? And I want to back up here for a second. My experience with networking, number one, I've gone to events to A/B test pitches, to work on this skill or work on driving a conversation. I have gone to Quick Connects and I've done my best not to talk for 7 minutes. I'll ask questions like, well, we're running out of time. Tell me about you. I'm like, wait a minute before that. And I'll ask another open-ended question. And I'm not making fun of them or making light of them, but I'm doing my best to keep the conversation on them and keep them engaged and telling story and answering questions. And I have fun with that when I do my best not to pitch at all. Tim, have you ever tested pitches or played like that?
Yeah. No, I've been testing pitches, and that was something that I had to get used to, because I can talk a lot, and the more I talk, I end up using 5 minutes of the 7 minutes. I'm like, oh no, I didn't let you talk at all. So some people appreciate that because that's their goal, but that's their way of connecting with people, is they're there to help businesses. So they need to understand what that business does, the specifics of it. They're asking you questions about it. And then other times you're there and you're giving your pitch and you're like, I do a ton of things. And if I spent even just this podcast, if I just listed all the things that I can do from definition digital marketing, that would take up the whole time because I got to explain all the different services. And there's so many, I always forget some, and I'm listening out like, oh, there's also that one. And anytime I find a business that I want to work with, oh, that's a really cool product. That's something my client would be interested. I add that to my list of services. And hey, these are things that I can present to clients, or these are things that to my existing clients or new clients. I just keep adding tools to my arsenal. And eventually I'm going to get to the point where it's like, okay, now it's going to take me 30 minutes to go through my whole list of things that I can give to your business. And like I'm doing it right now, I'm talking a little bit more than I anticipated. I've got a lot to offer and all that's running through my head. And about 7 minutes get eaten up real fast.
And you know what? The passion for your work comes through. So it's awesome you're talking. One thing I did with you and what I try to do when the Quick Connect pops, it's two people on screen. I try to be high energy and ask the first question because I want to utilize that time to pull information. The questions I'm asking are strategic to pull enough information out of them because, like you, I do a few things. That way I can pitch to them what pain points I've discovered during just a few minutes of Q&A. And found out what you do. I'm like, I'm not even pitching to you. I want to celebrate what you're doing because not every people who take podcasting seriously want a cool intro or a cool outro. And there are platforms like I use to where we can license music. And as long as I pay that monthly bill, I can continue to use that song. Or we go to Fiverr and we have somebody compose an original song, play an original song, maybe do voiceover and read a script doing the introduction and outro. And Tim, I'm going to let you explain what you do. And at the end of this episode, when we say goodbye and sign off, I'm going to play 4 audio files for you of what Tim did for me. And I want your feedback, and you're going to choose which one you liked the best. I might not take your votes as gold in you because I already have my favorite. And I've listened to these 4 files, I don't know, 10, 15 times a piece. Tim, you've like literally nailed using a generic song. I shouldn't say generic, a licensed song like you just heard on the intro of this show is cool. I try to find one with tempo, energy, where the lyrics are somewhat applicable. And you don't even hear lyrics on my intro, you will on my outro. But what Tim does, dials it in, makes it specific to this podcast. And I'm going to be so excited to use it for the episode we release after Tim. Tim, talk to us about the conversations we had and some light bulb moments that popped and what you've done for me.
Yeah. So it was like a convergence of things that just kind of lined up because that was probably like my 5th, maybe 6th event that I've done. And so I've been refining the elevator pitch. And I found that one of the things that I was doing is it was an introductory thing. It was something I was doing for businesses for free. Just kind of as I met them, I would create a business song, and the lyrics would be based on information I could find about their website or what we talked about during the chat, just things like that. Some of it was, oh, I know this about what they're doing. It's not listed on their website, but hey, this is something I can interject into the song to give it that touch that puts it, that lets it escape being generic. Because a lot of these songs, it's not customized to the business, and it sounds like it's not customized for the business. So what I can do is the more I learn about the business, the more I can refine lyrics that suit that business. And then I've got tools that will let me produce studio quality songs for that business. And like I said, I was doing it as a hobby. So I was like, oh, hey, we just met. Here's something free and cool that you can use for your business. And I was using it as like an opening tactic is, hey, just here's something you can use. It sets me apart because I haven't met anybody else on any networking that are doing that is doing what I'm doing. And I was doing it as a side thing. I was like, that's not even something I was planning on charging for. And then when we started talking, you were pumping it up. You're like, hey, this is unique and original, so it makes you stand out. But this is something you need to it's something you need to start selling as a product. This is not something you should be giving away for free. And you open up my mind to a whole new prospecting avenue. And I was like, oh, I'd never even, you're a podcast. So that's your area of expertise about podcast networks and, how massive the audience is for this. I wasn't aware. I know of a handful of podcasts and I don't tune in or subscribe to any. And I was like, okay, how many can there be? You're talking about, that's a much bigger number than I expected. And I was like, okay, there's a real market for this. And I've been giving these kind of away for free. So after talking with you, I was like, okay, now when I'm introducing this, I no longer introduce it as a free product because there's so many people that are interested in it, like what they hear when I show them the demos that I've created for other businesses. They're like, this is amazing. And this is something I should have picked up on sooner because one of the first businesses I created a song for, the person I showed it to afterwards sent me an email saying, hey, the owner of the company, I sent it to them and they love this. How much do you want for it? And I was like naive. And I'm like, oh, it's free. I told you it was free in the first. And I'm like, oh no, I just missed a sales opportunity. I should have been valuing these higher than I was. So now I'm no longer doing them for free. I guess I built up a little bit of a roster of free versions that, hey, this is the kind of work I can do, showing the range of style. That's the other thing that's amazing about what I'm currently doing is a lot of people that do songs for businesses, or at least in the past, because I've seen other people doing it, and these are people who do it themselves. There's one style. Like they either do a country version and they do a country version for all of their clients because that's the only type of music they can do. And they've got the instruments for that. Where what I'm doing, I've done a bunch of different styles. I did one that was kind of reggae Caribbean feel. I've got country songs. I've got one that sounds like a modern what's the guy's name? Ed Sheeran-ish style song. And I was like, man, that came out perfectly. That was exactly what I had in mind when I was writing the lyrics. And then I did what I did to create the song. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And the person I made it for loved it. And I was like, oh, this is incredible. And they're asking me about the details of how I do it. And I'm like, well, I told them a little bit, but not enough where they could reproduce it themselves. So it's something that I've seen other people doing similar stuff. And there's like tutorials and things like that. But most of the stuff that I've heard comes out sounding generic. And that's because they're not doing what I'm doing to fine tune. And again, they're not focusing on businesses. A lot of times they're just making general songs with some of these tools, but they're relying too much on the tool. Whereas the way my process, it's more of my personal input. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So my brother found out about what I was doing and he's in the Air Force and he's got an event coming up in April. And he's like, hey, what can you use that for what we're doing? I want to make something to promote this event to the Air Force. And so I took an afternoon, put something together for him. And what I created, because he wanted a rap rock style song, and he was thinking kind of Linkin Park. And after messing with the lyrics, all the lyrics are describing the event that's based on a pamphlet he gave me. So it's a PDF file, like 30 pages, where it's describing the speakers at the event, when the dates are, what the breakout sessions are going to be focused on, and things like that. And I created a song for him, and he's currently running that through the PR. So I don't think I can. So I've got that set aside as a separate song, so it's not in the list of demos. But one of the lyrics that I'm really proud of that I actually put it in there is a rising tide raises boats, but as airmen, we soar, we don't float. And I was like, dude, as soon as I came up, it fit in perfectly with the song. And everything it comes across exactly. Oh, that's perfect. And the final product sounds something I was like, if I didn't know that I made it and I was just listening on our radio, I would say, oh, is that Hollywood Undead? Or, yeah, because it's like that. It's crazy how radio quality and how studio professionally, or yeah, I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but it's downright something that was done in a studio and it's something I did personally in my own space, in my own office. It's amazing.
I was blown away when I opened up the first file and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was about halfway through the second version you did for me. And I went, why didn't I ask for 4 different styles instead of 4 versions of a style. And I'm like, oh, I learned my lesson. But what I got was phenomenal. And the way it ties into networking and network effect, the podcast, and it was just perfect. And I'm excited to share them with the audience here. And again, after the intro, I'm going to run 1 in through 4 so you can check them out for yourself. But I was completely stoked with what was done. And a couple of things. You don't have to go to Fiverr and do a back and forth. The process was really simple with you, Tim. We talked for maybe 5 minutes, and I think I sent you a link to the show description or something, and you generated gold. I'm not paying continual licensing fees. I'm actually purchasing it from you. So there's no rights to it being a podcast intro outro. And it's a sweet deal for people that want to increase the value of their podcast production, going this route rather than paying monthly licensing or working with somebody on Fiverr. And or I encouraged him, I'm like, jump on Fiverr, throw up some samples for you there. You never know. That could turn into a nice little side hustle. The way that you were giving them away is an awesome value first, upsell to get them deeper into your funnel and expose your products to what else you can do for a company. So have you had any feedback or experience to where a company was so blown away that they purchased more of your services?
So there's a couple of businesses that is specifically because I gave them songs. And they were like, oh, okay. Because sometimes you meet somebody and you're like, okay, how much of what they said is real or bluster than just PR, and how much of them is able to deliver on that. And when I created this, I was like, oh, I'm going to do a song for you. They're like, oh, okay, that's nice. And then I send them the actual song I made. Okay, this is way more than I was expecting. Okay, this guy's legit. He actually knows what he's doing. He's providing a service above and beyond what he promised. What are the other services he's doing? And so that started those other conversations. There's a couple that are in the works. We're working out the finer details before they actually become a paying customer, but none have actually, no money has exchanged hands yet. But then again, I've only been on Alignable a very short time. And I've only been doing the music thing like maybe a month and a half.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's relatively new, but it's helping you keep people or push people deeper into your funnel.
yes. Yeah. And I didn't really start promoting the music thing. It was always seemed to be an actor until kind of more recently, like when we had, it was, oh, this is a thing that's resonating with more people. I need to start pushing this more as a way to step myself apart. So that's why I think everybody I talked with in that particular Connect event, instead of talking about the other services, because we do have unique services that I haven't seen anybody else offering, but I was like, okay, this is the one where I don't have to explain very much. I just say, hey, this is business songs. People understand it immediately. Doesn't require a whole lot. And when they actually hear it for themselves, they're like, okay, when you said custom business songs, I was thinking maybe an acoustic guitar but this is full blown multiple instruments, stellar vocals, and it's describing their business, and it's using lyrics sometimes pulled directly from their website or things that we said in the exchange. And when they hear that, they're like, okay, this is custom for me. This is not generic. So, but going back to the 4 versions I created, so 2 of them do have nearly identical lyrics, but all 4 are slightly different variations. So they're not quite all in the same genre. But that a lot of them are Southern rock. And I chose that the more because I listened to a couple of your podcasts. I got a theme, and some of the other podcasts that you've showed up on. I was like, okay, this seems to be the general style, and this seems to fit the network effect. So I was like, okay, instead of going, I could have done a completely rap version and a hip hop, and I was like, yeah, but that doesn't quite fit with the other stuff you've done. It may sound cool, but it doesn't quite mesh with the style of the show. And I was like, okay, based on the style of the show, this Southern rock influence seems to be pivotal. So there's Southern rock mixed with other genres, but the Southern rock is a primary.
Yeah. And it was very fitting. I totally stoked with what you delivered to me. Listen, I am going to put links to Tim in the show notes. I want you to go check out the work that he does. And if you're a podcaster, if you're a club sports team and you want a song to charge out onto the field, that would be another great play because it can reference the team name, the sport, that high energy of a team running onto the field. There's so many directions you can go with what you do. It's phenomenal, man. Tim, I want to thank you, number one, for delivering me those 4 samples. And I'm excited to see what the audience feeds back. And before we go, I want to share with you, we met on a quick connect, had a one-on-one. Tim's on my podcast. We've discovered that we're probably pretty decent referral partners. He has a unique product that my customers and people that I'm involved with can use, so I can refer them to Tim. Tim, if he has a customer that needs and or wants a podcast or podcast support or coaching when it comes around the content, he may refer them to me. And that is such a valuable relationship to have from networking. Tim, any parting words before we go?
No, it's fantastic to have met you. And in the first meeting we had, so the one-on-one, you immediately started giving me resources and presenting this whole market. So that was one of the things of like, okay, I was blown away right at the start. I was like, this guy's not looking for what he can get out of it. He immediately started saying, how can I help you? And after listening to a couple of the episodes, it's okay. It's not just something you say on the podcast. It's something you're actually doing in your networking efforts. And I think there's a lyric in one of the three, I don't remember the exact words, but something about give first and watch opportunities erupt. So that's exactly what, it's not something that's just, oh, that sounds nice on paper. It's something that really works because I've seen it. And that's what I have a whole new opportunity to what I'm doing, selling these songs to podcasts. And the team thing, something I hadn't considered either, but that's definitely an avenue to look into.
Tim, I want to thank you for being a guest here on Network Effect. Links will be in your show notes. I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your very busy day. If anybody wants to connect with Tim, links will be at the show notes below. You'll be able to connect with Tim, have a conversation with him, give him some ideas and talk to him. I'm sure he's going to be extremely affordable for a podcast, and the value a custom song is going to bring to your show is paramount. Tim, appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. That was yet another episode of Network Effect. I greatly appreciate you joining us. Hey, if you know a podcaster that needs a custom intro song, or maybe should use a custom intro, outro, or aren't using intro, outros, please share this episode with them. Let them know you heard about Tim here on Network Effect. And until next week, continue networking.
Let it go. Everybody need a refresh. Go. You walk in rooms with hands unsure. Strangers adore to more. From elevator pitch to power lunch, the secret's not contacts, it's staying in touch. It's CRMs and coffee chats, turning small talk into big impact. Oh, the network fact, we connect the dots. From boardroom deals to parking lot thoughts. Grit and grace in every handshake. Your next big break's just one real talk away. coffee chats, turning small talk into big impact. Oh, the network that we connect the dots, from boardroom deals to parking lot thoughts. Grit and grace in every handshake. Your next big break's just one real talk away. Handshake's just the start, not the end. The art of connection takes time to mend. From introverts' nerves to the CEO's desk, every thread in the web holds a chance to invest. Active listening makes silence glisten. Storytellers craft worlds for ears that listen. CRM grids track the pulse of your crew. A follow-up calendar, relationships from new. It's not who you know, but how you show up. A coffee, a nod, or a mentor's backup. All the network effects, a rhythm, not luck. Relationships turn to ripples in the palm we struck. From elevator pitches to power dynamics, we're building bridges, not just tactics. However, get first and watch opportunities erupt. Manage up with the grace of a chessboard queen. Know the goal, stay sharp, keep your purpose clean. Rejection's a detour, not a dead-end street. Mentors in your corner make the grind feel sweet. Hidden job markets bloom through trusted chats. LinkedIn's just a map, not where the treasure's at. Batch of follow-ups, let's see on this breathe. Nurture the garden before you reap the seed. All the network effects, a rhythm, not luck. Relationships turn to ripples in the pond we struck. From Dale Carnegie's whispers to bold collaboration, we're writing legacies through every conversation. However, give first and watch opportunities erupt. When doors slam, pivot, don't collapse. Mutual benefits are glue in the gaps. Plant seeds in the cracks where doubt is see lack. 'Cause influence grows when you give before you ask. Narrative track every name. The network affects more than a game. Brian's blueprint shows we rise when we lift. Your next big break is just a genuine gift. Opportunities erupt. Never give first and watch opportunities erupt. When doors slam, pivot, don't collapse. Mutual benefits, the glue in the gaps. Plant seeds in the cracks where doubt or see lack. 'Cause influence grows when you give before you ask. Just the start and not the end. The art of connection takes time to mend. From introverts' nerves to the CEO's desk, every thread in the web holds a chance to invest. Where active listening makes silence glisten. Storytellers craft worlds for ears that listen. CRM grids track the pulse of your crew. A follow-up calendar, relationships renewed. It's not who you know, but how you show up. A coffee, a nod, or a mentor's backup. Oh, the network effects are rhythm, not luck. Relationships turn to ripples in the pond we've struck. From elevator pitches to power dynamics, we're building bridges, not just tactics. Whoever get first and watch opportunities erupt. Manage up with the grace of a chessboard queen. Know the goal, stay sharp, keep your purpose clean. Rejection's a detour, not a dead-end street. Mentors in your corner make the grind feel sweet. Hidden job markets bloom through trusted chats. LinkedIn's just a map, now where the treasure's at. That's your follow-ups, let's see all this breed. Nurture the garden before you reap the seed. All the network effects are rhythm, not luck. Relationships turn to ripples in the pond we've struck. From Dale Carnegie's whispers to bold collaboration, we're writing legacies through every conversation. Whoever get first and watch opportunities erupt. When doors slam, pivot, don't collapse. Mutual benefits, the glue in the gaps. Plant seeds in the cracks where doubters see lack. Cause influence grows when you give before you ask. So craft your narrative, track every name. The network affects more than a game. Orion's blueprint shows we rise when we live. Your next big break is just a genuine gift. Oh, the network effects are rhythm, not luck. Relationships turn to ripples in the pond we've struck. From elevator pitches to power dynamics, we're building bridges, not just tactics. Whoever get first and watch opportunities erupt. When doors slam, pivot, don't collapse. Mutual benefits, the glue in the gaps. Plant seeds in the cracks where doubters see lack. Cause influence grows when you give before you ask. Step into the room where the connectors play. From LinkedIn grids to the coffee tray. No scripted lines, just a story to spin. The network effect where the wins begin. CRM's humming, mentors coming. Every handshake's a rhythm we're drumming. Network effect, we connect, reflect. From boardroom bets to the projects you checked. Grid in your grin, no transactional debt. Your tribe's the tide that lifts what's next. Wild one is awesome. Step into the room where the connector display. From LinkedIn grids to the coffee tray. No scripted lines, just a story to spin.